So the last story was the story of the Temple of 10,000 Demons. But there's another part to this story that has its own focus. And that is the Palace of the Buddhas. We could call it several things, the Palace of the 10,000 Buddhas or the Palace of the Buddhas. It's also considered a temple. And the interesting thing about the Palace of the Buddhas is that it has no ceiling, no floor, and no walls. So that's very interesting. And it's also interesting who occupies the Palace of the Buddhas. Now, of course, this is a Tibetan Buddhist story, and so their version of it is that the palace is occupied by all the enlightened masters that have gone before us and have become enlightened and woken up and become self-realized. And so it would include a great many of their saints and the Buddha himself and many of his followers and the great Rinpoches and the great teachers and all of that. But they would not exclude saints of many, many other traditions. So we could say that all enlightened beings are in the Palace of the Buddhas. So that would include, for example, it would include Melchizedek or Ganesh or Saint Germain, Krishna. It would include Jesus. It would include Ramakrishna, Milarepa. The list is extremely long. It would include Lao Tzu, for example. And it would also include all the great feminine faces of spirit, like the Virgin of Guadalupe or Tenantzin, or Mary Magdalene, or the Corn Maiden, or the White Buffalo Calf Woman, or Sophia, or Venus, or Kuan Yin, and so on. Yogananda. It would include almost anyone that you can think of that is a revered saint or great teacher. So that means that the Palace of the Buddhas is filled with enlightenment. It's filled with the highest divine frequencies. And if there's no walls and no ceiling and no floor, it means that the Palace of the Buddhas has no limits. And it means that the Palace of the Buddhas is ever present in all places at once, even right here, right where you are, right where I am here. It's in all places. It's a very high frequency. It's a high octave, and so the highest octave. And so it may be that you can't quite see it or sense it or feel it because it's a higher frequency than the dimension that you're in, especially us on the physical plane. Nevertheless, it occupies this space. Here it is. And it's always available to us at all times. So stay tuned for part 3.